This is a short video that explains the process to initiate a regional fleet movement coordination effort with states. The way this works very simply is it's all built upon the storm's impact at the local level. So you have the local electric company, and it has its own resources, people, vehicles, and so forth to respond to an event. A local utility can cover one state or 3 states or multiple states, so it doesn't matter. So when a big event hits and overwhelms the local utility, okay, they have reached back into a group called the Regional Mutual Aid Group, the RMAG. The RMAG consists of several local utilities across a region. So this can range from 12 or 15 to 20 sometimes. Okay, so the RMAG is brought together. The local utility reaches back to the RMAG. The RMAG gets other utilities, and they decide on these calls what type of resources are needed, what the threat is, what the predictions are, and they make the decisions on when to deploy. So for really big events, they can coordinate with other regional RMAGs around the country. There's seven of them, I believe. I may be wrong, but there's multiple RMAGs that cover east to west coast. Okay. What's new about this is the RMAGs also have connection to the multi-state fleet response work group. Okay. The work group is there to do one thing. It's to provide reach back through the All Hazards Consortium to states around the country. The states are important because as these fleets move across the country, they move through pass-through states into the impacted states. So for the Regional Fleet Movement Coordination Initiative, the RMAG, each one of the RMAGs has a connection back to the Fleet Working Group. So what happens is, if the event's big enough and they think they need multiple states to coordinate with this response effort, the Fleet Working Group, through the AHC, sends an email to all of the states involved. It could be 20, 25 states, it could be 16, 18 states, requesting information on how to expedite fleets through their states. The sensitive information that's provided from the private sector of the states could be ETAs, departure times, arrival times, number of trucks, number of people, routes to take. And it's important people understand that's sensitive because there's a lot of ways that data can be compromised and commandeered, and security breaches and so forth. Gangs steal copper off these fleets. I mean, there's a lot of things that need to be addressed there. So the states provide this loopback of information via email back through an email established by the Fleet Working Group that goes directly to the RMAGs and to the responding utilities and coordinating RMAGs. So that all happens via email, and there's been several examples in 2013 and 2014 where that occurred. In one specific example, the RMAG Southeast Electric Exchange contacted the Fleet Working Group, and they had to move about 400 people, about 200 trucks from Ohio into North Carolina for a storm. So you had multiple states involved in that: Ohio, West Virginia, Virginia, and then finally to North Carolina, the destination. So an email was sent from the Fleet Working Group into Ohio and then CC'd all the rest of the states. So the connection was made between the Ohio emergency managers and Scott Smith at the SEE. That information was shared. Ohio jumped on it, notified the following states, and so there was direct connection as those fleets went right through those pass-through states into the receiving state. It's a great example of how states could actually move obstacles to get these fleets through those states into the destination state in a hurry. So just to summarize, how this is initiated is done at the local level. The local utility requests for support from the RMAG. The RMAG reps decide if they need to engage the Fleet Working Group for multi-state coordination. That example that happened during February was just one small example involving 4 states, but now this process is being refined across the country.